I just thought like just the significance. I kind of wanted to touch on that, the significance of Indiana winning for the sport, like going forward. I
Right.
said going into this one, I was just going to enjoy the game. Like whoever won, I was probably going to be fine with, and it was going to be a lot of fun. And it clearly was. It was an awesome game. But then I kind of found myself halfway through that, just like all on Indiana, and I just wanted to see them pull it out and to just get this massive win and the significance it has for the sport going forward. Like Reese mentioned it, like I kind of felt I kind of found myself like had I been with you guys like 10 beers deep watching that game, I felt like I really would have actually been kind of emotional just watching it because I think sometimes it's hard to get caught up in the moment, but the repercussions of them winning lays out a foundation for a lot of teams in the sport that I think is going to be massive going forward. Now, there's going to be a lot of players who think they can be the next Indiana and might not get there, but the hope that Indiana has now built for a lot of college football fans and a lot of college football teams going forward is going to just continue this growth on the popularity of the sport. I mean, I just sat there thinking like at the end of it, it's surreal. Guys, their composite ranking on 247 is what 74th, the 74th best roster in the sport. They have 6 4-stars. I don't think they have a single 5-star on the team. They beat
55 3-stars or something like that.
Yep. And they debunked the blue chip ratio, which I'm a big proponent of. I think it's really important. It stood tall up until last night for the test of time for national champions. And now it's like, it just lays out the foundation. Like I texted you guys this, like I fully accept that Iowa State will never sniff a national championship, but them winning, Indiana winning the facet that they won last night, it's like, man, it can be done at a lot of different places now. Like we always loved college football. We always loved Saturdays. Like clearly the national championship doesn't define success of 95% of programs in college football. But I mean, for just two fan bases right now, I think like with Iowa and Nebraska, there's no doubt in my mind, there's like, should be a path for you guys to think like if the right pieces and the money and the resources get put together, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to think that my team can't get it done 1 year. I hope I live the next, we're in our mid-20s. I hope I live another 50 to 60 years of my life. And I think Indiana has proven that your teams will get a shot. Like they'll get an opportunity. Now that can they make the most of it? We'll wait and see, but it just takes the right coach and the right guys to get through it. And you don't always need just billions upon billions of dollars of NIL money and all these 5-stars to get it done. It was just like a surreal moment last night. I'm like, I couldn't imagine being an Indiana fan right now. And I was just so happy for them. Like as someone who's watched losing Power 5 football for decades upon decades, and for them to never sniff 10 wins in a season. And now in 2 years, you hire this new coach and you're a national champion. It's something you can't like put into words. It was an unbelievable thing that I was just super happy for people that I've never met in my life last night. Cause I can't put into my feelings of like how it would just feel like a fever dream. Like I would be numb. I'd have no words to explain like what has happened there in the last 2 years.
I always said I'd be bankrupt if my team won the national title just because of the gear I'd have to buy. But I think simply putting it, another reason it felt so great is, like you said, Jake, I guess to put it in simpler terms, is in a world where it feels like everything's changing for the negative for a college football purist, this story was what the sport made us purists from, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
this is what made us fall in love with the sport, is teams like this could do it. And then it just felt like we were going to get further and further away from it as dollars got involved, as the portal got involved, as the G5 was getting stripped. And then here comes Kirk Cignetti doing it, a program that had absolutely no business being a part of the national championship game ever before the last couple of years.
Could I put out my Indiana effect? Because like this did a lot of good for the sport, but I think it's gonna get kind of ugly and chaotic now for at least the next decade, because Indiana now winning goes to a lot of big spending teams and they're like, holy shit, like how can we not beat this team? Like we got to keep spending more and more. And I think I texted you guys last night, the Indiana effect will live on for a decade or two, I think. And it's basically, I think in my definition terms, it's teams that I expect to over splurge. And I said this unnecessarily over the next decade or two to try to get the best roster in college football. And I threw I don't know, what is this, 12 teams on top of my head? And I think I could really keep going on this list.
Southeastern Conference.
Everybody in the SEC, you could basically throw into that. I would say I agree, JP, but even teams like, I put a Nebraska in there, Oregon, USC, Texas, Penn State, Texas Tech, BYU, A&M, Miami, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Like, I expect all of those teams to just ramp it up and get that more impatient year after year. You're going to see coaches get fired continually every 2, every 3, every 4 years. And you're going to see them outbid for, teams like Iowa State. If we have a next great quarterback, they're going to continue to throw millions upon millions of dollars at these guys to try and improve their roster year after year. And it's going to get a little crazy. So there's good. And I could also see the bad. I don't even know if it's the bad thing of
for the donors' pockets. It is.
Yeah, sure. It is crazy because you put in this the shoes of like a Cody Campbell at Texas Tech, and you're spending millions upon millions of dollars. And I know you've got billions in your pocket, but like, if you keep doing this for the next decade and Texas Tech gets as close as just maybe the semifinal, are you going to look back and be like, is this really worth my money? Like, I know I have a ton, but it's still, he's still spending, we all know it, like $20 to $50 million a year. That's nothing. That's no chump change. Like, it's going to run out eventually. It's just like, do these donors see it as an investment? Do they just like, will that national championship be worth it to them to spend all this money on all these programs?
Keeps him out of a different tax bracket. He's going to keep donating and he's fine.
Yeah.
There you go. Reese.
That's a write-off. There's the money, man.
There you go.
I also think if you look at it too, Jake, it's also a good thing for like G5 coaches. Like, there wasn't a lot of people out there that were like, we got to go get Cignetti, go get Kirk Cignetti in this next coaching cycle. There's going to be a lot of those teams, and some of the teams you just mentioned that are going to be searching for a Kirk Cignetti, where it may not be he's the G5 best team or the FCS national champion, but it's a guy that just wins and has won everywhere he's been. And it may not be a guy that jumps off the page like a Summerall, like the guys that have been recently hired. We may see another one. I think there's going to be some Hail Marys thrown, and there's going to be a lot more people joining the Fired Football's Coaches Association with moves like this, because there's only so many times you can go back to a donor, no matter how many different tax brackets they're in, without a result, without making a ton of changes and people being just in and out, revolving doors around these jobs.
And how do you convince them to keep donating money? Hey, we'll fire the coach.
Yep.
Hey, we'll get a brand new roster. Like, please keep donating. Like, this will work eventually. I promise.
But also with that, do you think some AEDs are going to get shorter leashes too if you can't get the right guy? Like with donors too, do you think
Rick
that
George
could be a thing?
Rick George. Rick George said, I'm out. Yeah. He made his net. That's a dumpster fire, but that's a perfect example. Yeah, I would say so. JP, any comment up there?
It's just, I don't know. To me,
does it change your mindset on Iowa, JP? Although I think this would be the post-Kirk era. I think you got to get through that for the next 3 years. And then, but
you think he's going to get to 30?
I mean, what's the reasoning behind having to get through that, though? Because this is a guy who builds a roster similar to the way Kirk does. And like, it started smaller school guys, overlooked guys, and went through that. Yes, it got better faster. But that's a team that had multiple shots to be in the same spot. Indiana won all one-score games that they got into. I didn't. I don't think it changes my outlook on it. And maybe it just hasn't really like set into like what the scale of this was. Or maybe it's just the playing videos of Indiana fans having to tell the whole world why they're in Miami that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
You don't like the Indiana fans? Is that what you're saying?
Have you seen? There's like 4 or 5 Indiana.
But
videos
you
of, like,
you got to give them like
plane. Yeah, I know, I understand. They're
I don't.
But like they like staying on the plane. Okay,
JP hates fun.
No, I'm gonna say now that they're new to it, but like your team is 16-0, like you deserve a right to have some fun,